So I'll go to the objectives of this masterclass is enhancing financial literacy. And one is to equip tour operators with essential knowledge on bookkeeping, tax compliance, payroll management, and financial planning. We also want to look at tax compliance and awareness, ensuring that the businesses that we're running are complying with the Uganda's tax obligations and that we're filing our returns on time, enabling us to avoid penalties, to avoid interest charged onto our businesses where the cash flows are limited and we need to work efficiently and effectively for the growth of our businesses. We also we will look at encouraging digital and automated solutions within the businesses, such as the accounting systems and technology platforms, tax filing systems, payroll systems to help us improve efficiency and accuracy. We'll also look at how do we optimize payroll and workforce management, especially where you have businesses that are running both seasonal staff and full-time staff, and ensuring that they're also complying with the labor laws. We'll also look at supporting businesses grow and investment readiness as well. How do we build insights into financial discipline? How do we do budgeting? Why do we do budgeting? How do we access funding opportunities as well to be able to scale? Then lastly, we'll look at improving our businesses for sustainability, providing strategies to manage seasonal cash flow fluctuations, and also ensuring that we have long-term financial stability. Yeah. So firstly, we're going to cover bookkeeping and accounting. We carried out a survey amongst the tour operators. I'm hoping everyone who is here with us today has completed that survey, because through that survey, we then get very interesting insights that help us tailor customized solutions for businesses across different sectors. So when we carried out the survey for the tour operators, it revealed that amongst the tour pain points or issues that many of the tour operators are facing, bookkeeping was one of those issues where tour operators faced a challenge. So 75% of the individuals who've completed this survey said bookkeeping was one of their key challenges. Yeah? And it came second to tax compliance. So tax compliance ranked at 87%, where late filings due to poor bookkeeping resulted in penalties. So we see that there's a huge issue in terms of tax compliance. And we've also seen how Uganda Revenue Authority has become very aggressive of late in terms of ensuring that businesses are complying, businesses are paying the taxes that are due. And all this stems from record keeping. So if you don't have proper books of account, it's hard for you then to be compliant on time. And many times you'll also have backlog of your accounting records. So you have the ledgers, transactions are not posted on time, the reconciliations are not done on time, and this then affects the businesses. Cash flow management ranked at 56%. Yeah. And also this resulted in inaccurate records, which hinders well effective cash flow management, because businesses that didn't have any accounting systems, any proper bookkeeping systems faced challenges in understanding and managing, one, the current historical financials, but also being able to forecast in the future. So in periods, like I said, where there was low seasons, especially in the tourism business, in those seasons it was harder to manage cash flows because businesses felt that they were squeezed on cash. And yet in the periods where there was high season, you find that a lot of that money is not then used to streamline and align revenues across the year and also meet expenses across the year. Invoicing as well and payments became an issue. It was an issue, and 50% of the participants out of the survey said that delayed invoicing is a big issue to the businesses, especially because they are part payments, which also affect cash flows. Yeah. The other areas that ranked as an issue that had 31% tying at the same rate or grade were payroll processing, managing seasonal employees, handling foreign currency transactions. All those had 31%. Then debt collection came last at 6.3%, meaning that at least in terms of debt collection, many of the owners of businesses were aware of how to collect debts, but also it has not proved to be such a large challenge. But also the fact that their businesses are small and the customers or clientele is not as large, so it makes it easy. So, but as you grow and the business is larger, you still need to think about debt collection because as well it affects your cash flows. Yeah. So looking at the importance of bookkeeping, and many of these, the conversations we're going to have today is focusing on addressing the issues or the problem, the challenge areas that we found in our business. So the importance of bookkeeping helps us to track business profitability and financial health. It also ensures that there's tax compliance and that we avoid penalties, and also requires us, it's required for loan applications. If you're going to complete a loan applications, many individuals, many banks, financial institutions, investors will need financial records, and also builds investor confidence. But even over and above, whether you're looking for a loan or looking for an investor into your business, it's always smart and best practice to have these fundamentals in place, to have a story or track record of your business. Your financial records, your profit and loss, balance sheets are the only ways that will tell the story of your business, where you've started from and where you're going to. So it's important that proper books of accounts are maintained for this reason. So looking at the best practices for tour operators, we have 4 of those that we have listed. There could be more than that, but these are the 4 critical and core areas that will say if we maintain and run these 4 areas in terms of bookkeeping. The first one being separating business and personal finances. We find that a lot of the small and micro businesses do not have a dedicated business account. So the issue here always arises that because you don't have a dedicated business account, you mix personal and business expenses, which makes it hard as well for managing your financial reporting, for managing your cash flows, for making your tax filings as well. And also makes it difficult to scale faster because then you can't separate, either you're getting into the capital of the business, or you cannot separate your profitability for the business and look at the costs that the business is spending. How do we then strategically manage those costs? How do we manage as well strategically growth of a business if we can't project into the future on one screen? And understand that it's important as well to have separate businesses. But because many of the businesses grow from sole proprietorship or family businesses, we still have a challenge separating the individuals, the owners from the business. So these two are separate legal entities. They're separate individuals. So we need to treat the business as it grows as a separate legal entity and have transactions. For example, many of the business owners I've seen, especially coming from small or micro businesses, if you're running the business, you might be the CEO, you'll be the procurement person, you might be the marketing person as well, you're the administrator as well. As you grow, many of these roles have got to be detached from you. But even then, if you look at it, if you're not doing this for the business, you'd still be hiring somebody who you're paying for those services. So the issue and problem then comes that if an owner is then doing all these things, many times they don't factor in their time, they don't factor in their costs. So you find that even the financials of the business or even the profitability of the business might be understated because you haven't separated the time that you put into the business. So I always advise that if an owner is the MD, the CEO, the procurement or marketing person, have a separate contract. Let the business pay you for the time and services that you are giving it. That way, then you can separate the time input and the value that you're giving into the business. Then if you have an investor coming to the business, if you're valuing your time and effort and you've not recorded it over a period of time, your financial statements are the only way that actually explain that this is the value of time that I put into the business to grow it to this level. If that is not there, you get to a point where you're arguing between your value into the business, your time spent into the business, and the amount of actual financial costs that the business has due to the owner based on the time that they've incurred. So it's important to separate those early enough, and important as well to have proper structures, formalized contracts between individuals, owners, and the business itself. And be able to have separate books of account for both the personal or individuals and the business. The second best practice is recording all transactions. You need to be ensuring on a daily basis that you're including cash, mobile money, card payments, and invoices into your transactions on a daily basis. Many of the businesses today have gone off from the traditional bank and they're using mobile money. So even when you're using mobile money, have a mobile money statement. Reconcile that to your transactions, your business transactions, reconcile your card payments. Yeah. So properly recording each of these transactions helps you maintain accurate financial records and helps make it easier for you to manage your cash flows. And in the end as well, while you're going to grow your business, you expect that you'll also be preparing yourself for an audit. Yeah. Then using accounting softwares, it's important that we move away from the manual records, and then move to systems and structures that help you have proper systems into your business that help you look at tasks easier, help you track expenses, help you track invoices, help you generate financial reports quickly. So moving away from manual records and away from Excel as well. If you're using Excel, it's best as well to move from the Excel to at least an automated or online or cloud-based system. We're living in a world that is so versatile, so global. You should be able to have your financial records at least at your fingertips or wherever you need to access them. We usually recommend QuickBooks or Tally. QuickBooks is one of the most user-friendly accounting systems I've seen. So we usually recommend that and support businesses to be able to get their books into QuickBooks, at least into an accounting system that helps them do the ledger, transactions, recording, do bank reconciliations, to do reports as well. So you're able to generate monthly profit and loss accounts, monthly balance sheets to be able to see the business historically and also in the future. So bank reconciliations is another way as well. You need to ensure that your business is operating within the standard best practices the industry has set. So ensuring that you have monthly bank reconciliations, reconciling your mobile money statements as well, ensuring that your financial records are actually matching your bank transactions or bank records and your mobile money records and any card records that you also have. So this helps you to ensure that there are no discrepancies and also that you have accurate financial reporting. So let's look at the common mistakes that we have seen under bookkeeping. Firstly is mixing personal and business expenses. I've spoken about this, but the issue here really is that it leads to confusion in inaccurate financial records. How do we avoid it? Is using a dedicated account, a business account, for clear financial transactions. The other mistake is not recording cash transactions at all. So you have records, you don't have records in your system that properly maintain your cash transactions. If you have a card transaction somewhere, ensure that at least it's recorded somewhere. If it's recorded in a notebook, at the end of the day, let it be recorded in an accounting system. So these missing income or expense records affect the financial accuracy of a business. So keeping daily monitor or log of receipts and expenditure is important for any business. The other mistakes we've seen are ignoring regular reconciliations. So going for long periods of time without reconciling your books of accounts, it leads to unmatched records and also cause financial mismanagement. If you have any money leakages, it's harder then to reconcile that for if you're doing it over a longer period of time. So it's important that you have regular reconciliations. And also ensuring that any fraud, any error is detected early and you're able to resolve it accurately and in time. Then failing to track accounts payable and receivables also becomes an issue if you don't have proper books of account or proper procedures or systems for managing and maintaining your bookkeeping records. This leads to unpaid invoices and overdue bills, and also hurts your cash flows. So maintaining an updated list of payables, maintaining an updated list of receivables is important for you to manage proper cash flows within the business. Improper tax documentation, because we don't have very good bookkeeping practices, sometimes then the issues can arise as penalties onto the business, compliance issues, URA, interest that you shouldn't have been paying. So keeping proper books of accounts helps you to have organized tax records and also ensures that you're filing your records on time. Relying solely on manual record keeping increases the risk of errors and loss of data. So using software such as Tally, like I mentioned, or QuickBooks, are important for you to maintain best practice. Then lack of financial reporting and analysis, it makes it hard to assess profitability and makes it hard for you to make informed decisions. So regular reviewing of financial statements, cash flows. If you have an account of somebody keeping your books account, making it a point to task them at least to show you your profitability on a monthly basis. Go through them as well. As an owner of a business, as a finance or accountant to a business, it's important that you're able to see this on a monthly basis. Then it's easy for you then to, one, curb where the cash flows or cash flow strains that are coming in the near future, but also able to predict the future and help you as well have proper strategic decisions and actions for anything that is coming in the future. So these are some of the common bookkeeping mistakes, and solutions, and the best practices of how to avoid these issues. So we're going to look at a case study of a company, tour operator who was operating in Ginger and required a loan from UDB, Uganda Development Bank. They needed a loan to expand the operations. However, the company faced challenges with maintaining proper financial records and bookkeeping. So UDB asked for several items, and among those items, they required them to provide accurate financial statements. The UDB required that they have accurate, up-to-date financial statements, which included the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statement for the last 3 years. So if you needed a loan and you don't have this already, then it puts you at risk of even obtaining that loan or even just passing that requirement. Regular bookkeeping, they needed that the company shows and maintains consistent, organized bookkeeping systems, and that they're also able to track their income and expenses on a regular basis. They also wanted to see tax compliance. Many times, many organizations ask for a tax compliance certificate, which they required. And they also wanted evidence of regular VAT filings, pay-as-you-earn filings with URA, but also some companies I've seen also require you to provide NSSF filings as well and compliance or certificates. UDB also wanted audited financial statements, and they required them to submit the audited financial statements, which many times demonstrates your transparency and accuracy. So there's a level of confidence that is put onto audited financial statements because you're getting a second eye into your business, and many times this second eye is coming from qualified experts looking into your business. Cash flow projections, many businesses who want to say that if we give you a loan, are you able to stand for at least 2 to 3 years in the near future? So having proper books of account helps you do all these things within the same system and helps you as well to place you in a better position when you're looking for a loan. What was a lesson learned by this company? They saw and noted that proper record keeping is essential and important for securing loans, as they provide transparency and it builds trust within financial institutions. We're going to look at tax compliance, looking at monthly tax filings and the different returns that are expected of a business on a monthly basis. The first one is value-added tax. We all know VAT. At least we have paid VAT somewhere. VAT is at 18% in Uganda. It's applied to tour operators. So tour operators are not exempt from VAT. There might be a few exemptions. For example, if you're exporting your services, so there might be some exemptions. But on a whole, generally, there are no exemptions for tour operators. VAT as well is charged on businesses whose annual revenue exceeds 150 million. So you need to have registered if your annual revenues are exceeding 150 million. It's charged on tour packages and other taxable services. So there is voluntary as well if you're not yet at the mark of 150 million. And annual revenue, there's also voluntary registration of VAT. So if you're anticipating that you're going to get to that, maybe it's best for you then to see that at least you're complying. Because when you do register with URA, there are certain things you then have to put in place. But also this proves confidence to you firstly as a business owner, to you firstly as well as a management team of a business. That you want to have certain things within the business. And when people look at your business, who are dealing with your business, they see a stable business, but a business as well that wants to see growth in their business and able to sustain that growth over a longer period of time. Pay as you earn is another tax that businesses also face on a monthly basis. So pay as you earn is a progressive tax. The minimum earning for an employee for payment of pay as you earn is 235,000 per month, and is progressive and has different tiers and bands over the different salaries that an employee is earning. Employers are responsible for remitting pay as you earn to Uganda Revenue Authority on a monthly basis. NSSF is the other tax. It's a total of 15%. Employer contributes 10%. The employee contributes 5%. The minimum number of employees for registration, according to the amended NSSF Act of 2022, is now 1. It used to be 5. It has reduced to 1. So even when you're owning the business and you're running it alone, please save up with NSSF, but also it gives you a buffer for the future. Then withholding tax at 6%. These taxes are deducted by clients when they're paying many of the businesses or tour operators. In this case, they deduct 6% withholding tax on payments to tour operators. Yeah, it's best that if you're registered for withholding tax, then you're able to offset this against your annual income at the end of the year when you're computing your annual taxes. The amount is deducted and remitted to URA on behalf of the tour operator. So if you're not registered as well, if you're not doing proper books of account, if you're not filing your accounts as well with URA, this tax is what you lose as well. So the business is also losing on tax that you cannot recover and offset against your future tax liabilities. Yeah. When we did the survey, we noted that as an example in terms of NSSF, you had 1 to 5 people. The businesses had 62% at least had an average of 1 to 5 people. Yeah. 25% of the businesses had an average of 6 to 10 people. 12.5% had an average of 11 to 20 people. There are not many businesses that had more than 20 people. So in terms of the size of business and growth of the business, many of the businesses that we see that have applied for this masterclass, but also have completed the survey, many of the businesses at a micro level, yeah, which is also a good thing because you're growing and you're starting on the right page. So you're putting in these fundamentals at the right time. You're setting up systems and structures at the right time. That as you grow, you already have these things in place and you're not struggling with returns. You're not struggling with VAT as well, computing it, compiling it, and then also remitting it. Yeah. So much as many of the businesses are micro, at least the mindset is that many people want to see their businesses grow and they want to grow as well with their business. Yeah. Let's just look at the tax filing and requirements for tax filing and what the deadlines for Uganda Revenue Authority are. So VAT filing is due by 15th of every month. So at the end of the month, it's due 15th of the subsequent month. Pay as you earn and NSSF as well due 15th of the subsequent month. And your corporation tax is due by the 30th of June every financial year. Yeah. URA as well, as I mentioned, a bit aggressive lately, and there are different offenses and penalties that are charged on a business. Yeah. Firstly, for example, if you fail to apply for registration of income tax, yeah, if you fail to apply for VAT when you should have applied, or local exercise duty, there's a fine that is charged on the business. The fine does not exceed 3 million shilling, or imprisonment not exceeding 6 years, or both, on conviction of failure or act that was done deliberately. Yeah. The offense as well of failure to pay income tax, either provision or final income tax, it then comes with a penalty, yeah, on the tax that was withheld. So an interest rate of 2% or 200,000 per month, whichever is higher, is usually computed and charged onto the business for any amount that has not been paid for the required period. Then failure as well to file VAT before on the due date, a penal tax of 200,000 or 2% on the unpaid tax is charged. Continue and then look at the common tax challenges and solutions that we have seen in Uganda. So what are the challenges in terms of taxes? Taxes being one of the points that many of you mentioned was a key challenge, a problem area for many of the tour operators. So lack of knowledge on tax obligations. Many people say they don't know what their tax obligations are as a business. So what we recommend is one, attending workshops. URA has put together workshops, and many times they advertise them on their websites. And it's good as well if you attend. So a lot of this is capacity building, so information dissemination. If you're not able to attend a workshop as well, there are options of hiring an external tax accountant, a tax expert, or an accountant to handle your taxes and help you do compliance on a regular basis, and also provide guidance on those areas where you might not have sufficient knowledge. But also it helps you free you as well to have time as well that you can spend on your own operations, so you're not bogged down on issues that you could hire somebody to help you put in place. There are also challenges on late filings and penalties. So a solution to that would be automating your tax submissions using your e-tax portal, setting reminders as well for deadlines. Sometimes as well, businesses have faced challenges in errors in VAT computations. So working with a tax consultant or an accountant to verify tax computations can help you avoid any miscalculations. The other challenges include complexity in withholding tax deductions and also filing the tax. So keeping track of your withholding tax transactions, requesting for withholding tax credit certificates. So where a person has said they paid you less withholding tax, they need to be able to submit that URA. Once they do that submission to URA gives them a certificate. They should give you that certificate, so that becomes then proof of you to offset your income tax at the end of the annual year, your financial year. Uncertainty about tax incentives and exemptions. Some businesses were not sure what exemptions accrue to their business, what incentives they have as a business. So regularly checking with URA for any updates on tax incentives is important. Also consulting a tax expert to maximize your benefits would help the business to be able to deal with these issues. Then the other challenge was a difficulty in tracking deductible expenses. And it's important as well, or helps when you maintain proper financial records using an accounting software or at least a bookkeeping service. So let's look at a case study of Safari that was fined for late filing of VAT. So Safari Uganda Limited, this is the name might have changed, but this is a real example of a tour operator who was based in Kampala. He specialized in safari packages for local and international tourists. The company was registered for VAT, is registered as well for pay-as-you-earn and withholding tax, and they need to comply with monthly taxes. So the challenge is the company faced delays in filing VAT returns. One, because they also had a backlog of updating their financial records. Managing pay-as-you-earn for seasonal employees also was a challenge. So calculating VAT for foreign and local tourists also became an issue. Applying withholding tax on supplier payments became complex. So it led to penalties and interest from Uganda Revenue Authority. So what would they have done different and better? So Safari Uganda Limited, what they needed to have done earlier, which they have now done, is automating their software. So they adopted tax compliance software that integrated with their accounting system, ensuring accurate VAT pay-as-you-earn withholding tax and withholding tax calculations and NSSF calculations as well. So based on one automating their system, it's much easier for them to see these filings done on a monthly basis, done timely, and also they have been able to avoid penalties and interest that is not relevant for their business. Dedicated tax officer was also appointed to oversee their tax filings. Sometimes if you don't have cash flows to pay a dedicated tax officer, if you have an accountant who is doing that, they're also able to support you to do your tax filings and ensure that you meet your deadlines. Staff training was also one of the areas that they needed to look at. So they trained their finance staff and ensuring as well that the finance team as well were able to update themselves on the tax laws, but also be able to take advantage of the URA trainings that they've had. They also were able then to recognize where there were areas where there are VAT exemptions for foreign tourists and the procedures that were required for the withholding tax. So where there's a certificate that's needed, they're able to contact their clients and be able to get those certificates on time. And also what they did, they implemented a filing calendar, tax calendar, to ensure that they meet tax deadlines and avoid missing submissions. So what was the outcome for this? There was on-time filings. So their taxes, the VAT, pay-as-you-earn, NSSF, withholding tax were filed on time each month. They avoided penalties, which also helped and improve efficiency of the business. So they're able to focus more now on the operations without taxes disrupting the business, without late payments as well of statutory deductions and NSSF disrupting the business, and also the team, that employees were more satisfied. So what did we learn from this? So technology and dedicated resources can significantly improve tax compliance. It can significantly as well improve the health of any business, especially for businesses that have complex tax requirements. And some of these, your businesses as tour operators, may have some exemptions that you might not be aware of, because sometimes you're dealing with a foreign service. So where there are exemptions that are relevant to the business and you can take advantage of them, it's important that you think through that, but also putting structures in place for the business helps you to think through these things. So you're not bogged down with the things that you should have in place as you're growing, and helps you focus now more on the things that you need to grow the top line, the revenue. Let's look at payroll services and payroll management. And because many of you had a few staff, at least 5 to 10 at most, a lot of this payroll, one is good to think about, but also see how you can also manage your staff, especially the seasonal and permanent staff, better. Why it's critical as well for tour operators to manage payroll effectively. You often deal with seasonal employment, You have fluctuating workforces. You have needs as well for some of these. Some might be lucky enough to have this seasonal staff come back when you need them. But some actually go and then look for better employment opportunities. But where you find the business is stronger, many times the employees would want to come back because there's job satisfaction, They've also grown in terms of value for their business. Some of them, if they're saving with NSSF, they look at that as their advantage. Many of the businesses, we know as well, the tour operators, because of the size of the businesses, sometimes either cash flows or even just not minding to pay for NSSF for the business, for employees. The employees as well lose satisfaction. So as you think through this, it affects both the business as it grows. It affects your ability as well. For example, in terms of seasonal employment, your ability to retain staff. So payroll management, ensuring you have smooth operations is important for sustainable business and sustainable growth. Your legal compliance. If the areas that you need to be compliant legally, many times it's good that you look for an expert in these things and then ask for assistance for challenges or problems that the business might be facing. Many tour operators as well hire seasonal staff like drivers, cooks, guides, porters. Some may be on short-term contracts, some may be on a seasonal or long-term contracts, but then you also stagger that contract over a period of time. So it's important for you to be able to look into this, understand how it affects your business, but also understand then how it affects the employees to be able to have a solid business. So structured payroll systems help you to prevent delays and any dispute, either arising through government agencies or arising from employees of the team in general. Payroll errors as well have led to labor disputes and penalties. We've seen a lot of labor disputes, or even you're taking people to court because of either late payment of taxes, penalties that have not been paid. We've also seen staff taking their employers to court, whether it's a labor court, whether it's a home or village court. You don't want this to disrupt your business. So ensuring that you don't have miscalculations in salaries, benefits that are charged are paid on time. Tax deductions that are made are also paid. So the employees are happy. You don't have dissatisfied employees. There are no legal actions within the business. And also it really generally helps you to ensure that you reduce any risks on payroll related issues. Then ensuring as well tax compliance with Uganda's labor laws. We have a pay-as-you-earn NSSF and VAT Act. So ensuring that at least you're meeting minimum wage requirements. You're not employing underage people. You're paying for overtime where there's overtime that has been agreed and it's documented as well. So ensuring that statutory deductions are done on time and are done well to avoid fines and reputational damage. So what I'd mentioned as well, a lot of the team here had at least 62 or 63% of their teams less than 5. 25% less than 10 people, 6 to 10 people. So from just these numbers, it's easy to tell and know that many of the business owners here or businesses here are micro businesses growing into small formalized businesses, stronger businesses, the revenues are a bit higher. But as you do that as well and grow, many of these challenges also are just expounded upon. So it's important to understand, okay, even if I'm a small business, what does that mean to me now? But what does that then mean to me in a year's time or 2 years' time? I would definitely be growing. So the reality of the small teams is you're handling finances many times on yourself, alone, by yourself. So you're the accountant I had mentioned, you're the marketing person, you're the CEO of the business, you're the procurement person. And many times as you grow, this becomes too heavy for you. So it's difficult then to focus on the business's growth. But also these are areas where you have a lot of commingling of personal finances with the business finances. That's a reality of almost any business. It's a stage of business that almost many businesses grow through, from the one-man run show to you've now recruited and hired a team of people. As it grows, the owner needs to then separate themselves from the business and be able to see that the business can stand alone. We normally call that the key man risk. Once the owner or founder leaves, then the business as well closes. And these are not the businesses that we want to grow. We have seen how, if USAID has said they're taking away their funding, many businesses have been affected. Many individuals have been affected. Then you find that businesses cannot even stand and grow for over 5 years. It's important that that separation and segregation is made clear, but also it just gives us a story and lets us know that we have to grow our businesses. We have to grow our countries ourselves. There's no donor effort that has come that has significantly changed any country. So it's for us to recognize, and while we sit here and share, and you also come and take time to listen, it's that whatever we're doing is not going to stop on us. So we're doing this for ourselves, we're doing it for our business, we're doing it, yes, for families, but more so it's the nation that gets stronger. It's Africa growing to be a stronger nation, and we can work and interact and trade with each other across borders. So it's important that once you have that mindset, it's good for you to have certain fundamentals in place, and have, if you can't afford, at least have an accounting service that comes and does your part-time accountancy, ensures your financial records are on time without even paying the cost of a full-time team. These resources are out there. Sometimes you might not, the resources there, the problem is there, and those two are not just looking eye to eye. Then 6 to 10 employees is also one of those where the business is growing, but payroll and tax compliance are becoming time-consuming. The solution here is outsourced accounting can help you manage and handle your payroll processing, your tax filings, and also helps you to focus on your operations. Where you have at least 11 to 20 people, this kind of business is scaling, but also managing seasonal staff and cash flows has become a challenge. So the solution is looking at outsourcing accounting services, or having a full-time accountant where cash flows can manage, and ensuring at least you have sufficient ways to manage seasonal payroll, to also manage cash flows and optimizing your cash flows as a business grows. Okay, let's look at as best practices for payroll automation. There are different softwares as well that we normally advise and use for payroll automation. Some of these might be easy to use, but also it's good if you have maybe a firm or an accountant who is helping you that is able then to tap into another firm that is already registered for some of these services. So use of payroll software systems enables you to have accurate and efficient records. So automating your salary calculations, automating your pay as you earn, your NSSF, using technology systems like QuickBooks, Wave, Zero, MemorySoft as well can enable you to have these things done on a monthly basis, and it becomes repetitive and part of the business. So generating pay slips for staff, some of these things which might take small but motivate staff as well. So as staff being able to have a pay slips, and maybe going to use that for getting a loan from a bank. So having these things in place gives you as well motivation and strength of a business. So reporting taxes on time as well is one of those areas that helps you in terms of best practices and ensuring that the business is meeting standard best practice. It helps you also reduce errors, administrative workload. Integrating as well your payroll with URA enables that when you do your returns as well, it looks like the URA portal and you're able to file on time and easily. The other best practice is ensuring that the business complies with tax and statutory deductions. We mentioned the pay as you earn, the NSSF, local service tax, and ensuring that these are paid on time. And also where you have overtime that's computed well, and ensure that at least by the 15th of every month, you have paid your outstanding taxes. Keeping payroll records is one of those areas as well for payroll best practices. So ensuring that at least you have payroll records for at least 5 years. Auditing standards require that you have at least 7 years records. So any one time URA requires records, they expect that at least you have maintained your records for 5 to 7 years. So storing employee contracts is important, salary payments, tax filing. So all this information is important for you to maintain it on a monthly basis, on an annual basis for a period of at least 5 to 7 years. So using any cloud-based accounting systems is important. If a computer or laptop gets slow, so if data is corrupted, you're able to retrieve that from the cloud. Planning as well for seasonal payroll management. So where you have seasonal staff and a short-term contract, it's best that you also have a plan for the periods where it's not very busy. You might as well offer retainer contracts for key employees to secure their availability during peak seasons. Setting aside as well payroll reserves during peak months can help you cover salaries in off-peak seasons. The other things as well, or tips that can help you is ensuring at least there's a performance-based incentive scheme for your employees. This many times helps retain the skilled seasonal workers for future tour operators. So let's look at business advisory and financial planning. So what do we need to do in order to develop financial strength within the business, financial muscle, you'd say? How does that help us grow the business and be more scalable and sustainable? So well-structured financial plan helps you manage your cash flows. We've talked about that, but also helps you have sustainable operations. It helps you as well expand your business opportunities. There are different ways that you can build financial stability and strength within the business. One of them is budgeting and forecasting. So enabling the business to have historical and future data. We've talked about systems. So if you have systems that help you have historical data, it's possible then and easier for you to predict these cash flows into the future, and you're able then to analyze your revenues, you're able to analyze your costs and have strategies that either increase revenue, or help you curb your costs. So creating a seasonal budget as well. So we've seen some create monthly budgets or weekly budgets, but also scaling this up to a 6 months budget, to an annual budget. It helps you think through, okay, how would I then market if my revenues are lower? Which different channels would I want to use? So allocating funds to for peak seasons and off-peak seasons is also important. If you can actually then forecast for it and budget for it on time, then you have smoother operations across the year. Scenario planning is one of those as well for unexpected events, where there are unexpected, unforeseen events. For example, travel restrictions, where there are economic downtowns, you need to have a financial buffer. Yeah, we saw this a lot in COVID time, and the tourism businesses was one of those that was highest hit. Yeah, because many of the businesses did not have financial buffer. Many businesses, many business owners, many individuals' lives were affected. So thinking through this and even putting aside minimal savings. I always say savings is not the amount of money that you have, it's the discipline that you have into saving. So once you build that, you start even as small as 10,000, but as long as it is a practice, it is a behavior, you continue increasing it because you see the value then as it expands. Using budgeting tools, the softwares like QuickBooks, Tally help you to automate your budget and also help you do financial projections better. There are cost control strategies as well you can employ within the business. Yeah. For example, looking at your fixed and variable costs. Yeah, looking at your essential and non-essential expenses. Yeah, especially where you have the business as well is mixing its business finances with personal finances. It's difficult then to have a good understanding of the essential and non-essential. You will have the understanding of it, but just separating that on paper becomes the challenge. Yeah. So optimizing your spending, whether you're spending business money on personal money or personal money on business and it's not being accounted for that way, becomes a challenge for you to properly predict and forecast, and also just look at your historical and current financial statements. Negotiating better supplier deals is also a way you can manage your finances and help your business get stronger. So partnering with hotels. We've seen two operators do that quite efficiently, partnering as well with transport service providers and partnering with each other as well. Yeah. So where an individual has they're overwhelmed with different clients, and yet you have a colleague that is doing the same competitive business as well. We grow from numbers and strength. Strength is built by numbers. So even just partnering with people in the same sector, same field, and same business is important as well to have better supplier deals across the line, but also be able to have customer satisfaction. And then there are some local guides as well that you may partner with to have bulk discount and bulk pricing. Reducing overhead costs is one of those areas where you might want to think into how do you strategically manage your finances. So looking at options such as reduction in office expenses. So working from home, many offices have actually moved to either remote working from home areas or even just having part-time staff in an office. Yeah. It reduces costs that you might not even think might be they might be minimal, but if you accumulate them over a period of time, things like tea leaves, sugar, coffee, etc., if you accumulate them over a period of time, they become substantial. So those are areas that you might want to think through. Okay, how does my fixed overhead costs relate then with my total cash flows? Yeah. So monitoring as well your marketing return on investment. So focusing your marketing efforts. We live in a digital age, an age of information. So making marketing, digital marketing more effective for the business. Yeah. How do I do the digital marketing? How do I take advantage of the things that I see out there? Yeah. And there are a number of people who do it now at low cost as well. So these are things that you think through and see how very small, simple changes within the business can actually then affect your bottom line. Yeah. It helps you to attract customers, but also the social media or digital marketing has now come to something that is much cheaper than the traditional marketing, maybe newspapers or television, marketing routes that we used to have. Developing as well pricing strategies is one important one to help you have a stronger business financially. Offering different tiers for budget clients, for mid-range clients, for the luxury travelers. Yeah. So segregating those and ensuring that at least you have different tiers for different customers as opposed to having one flat rate, is important as well to think through. Then competitively benchmarking against your competitors. Yeah. What rates does the industry give? How do I adjust my pricing according as well to the seasons, and also helping you to ensure that there is profitability throughout the year. Then we've seen as well bundling services. Many tour operators do this. Many hotels as well do this. So creating packages for accommodation and transport. Yeah. A lot of these as well attract customers because there is a bit more customer satisfaction and flexibility that you give a customer and helps you in the end increase your sales. Yeah. Then dynamic pricing, we spoke on this. So adjusting your demand or pricing depending on the season, yeah, and the customer preferences. Financial discipline is one of those areas we thought from the survey that we should as well touch and cover. So financial discipline, ensuring that tour operators maintain profitability and investment as well. Yeah, seeing that once we are encouraging savings, how do we move to the next level of investments? Yeah, do we even have the cash flows to invest? Like I mentioned, investment is a discipline. You will invest as minimal as possible, but the discipline has to grow with the business. Yeah, so one of the ways that you can operate a business that is financially disciplined, and even then the individuals become financially disciplined. One is saving and reinvesting profits. So establishing an emergency fund to cover unforeseen expenses. Yeah, saving and investing in unit trusts, in treasury bills. So some of these things might seem like one needs a lot of money to do that, yeah. But at times when you come together as a group, or even when you invest through, for example, investment funds, yeah, because they are collecting this money, they're able to do it in bulk, but they are doing it from different individuals. So these are ways you can take advantage of solutions that are out there, yeah. Allocating a portion of earnings to business expansion. Yeah, for example, if you have saved enough money and you want to actually purchase a better tour vehicle, you want to purchase assets, you want to upgrade your marketing efforts, it's important to know that this money is going to come out of something. So instead of having a one-time outflow, it's easy when you're saving it over a period of time. So saving and reinvesting your profits is important for business discipline and financial growth. Yeah. We also thought through establishing a tour operators circles and credit cooperative scheme. Yeah. We've seen this work well, I would say, for Wazalendo, yeah, the Army Circle. We've also seen YSave, a church circle, yeah. And I thought maybe tour operators saving and credit cooperative scheme. It's one of those areas where we know and understand each other's business. That businesses are similar. Why not then come together? Yeah. Some people might have then their own investment schemes or savings schemes, but as well there's strength in numbers. Yeah. There's power in numbers as well. So these are things that we could think about. Yeah. Through Uganda Tourism Board as well. These are things that maybe they can support to see that we strengthen the business. There's access to capital that is built within there. There's technical assistance that is given and supported like this, yeah, to operators. So it's important that as you come together as a stronger and bigger voice in numbers. Yeah. When you did the survey, we saw that the annual revenues of many of the businesses were within the 10,000 to 50,000 range. So we saw that 43% of the businesses are earning, and they have annual revenues of between 10,000 and 50,000. Yeah, 31% had annual earnings of $10,000 US. 18% to 19% had annual earnings of 50,000, between 50,000 and 100,000 US. And a smaller percentage, it's almost 10% of that, were or less were above 100,000 US. Yeah, but again, this is indicative of the size of business. Yeah, but also because there's mingling of personal and business finances, sometimes these statistics may not be accurate. Yeah, so it's important as well that you grow this. So you see this as a sector that is growing. Yeah. So the reality of this then means that because the business are smaller, the challenges might also be much more expounded now, but also there's help out there to help you grow together and at minimal cost as well. The other areas of financial discipline that we have seen are diversifying revenue streams that are important and essential for business as they grow. So offering specialized tour packages. Yeah, we've seen ecotourism come up so strongly in the country, cultural heritage experiences as well, adventure tourism. We've also seen many local tourists come up. Yeah, I've seen many Ugandans now doing a lot more local tourism than they did maybe 10 years ago. So that is another diversified revenue stream. So how do we then attract our own people to do tourism more frequently and more often within the country? Yeah. Partnering with local businesses to cross-sell services. So collaborating with hotels, restaurants, craft makers, etc., so that you become the one-stop center within your region, within your sector as well. So introducing digital products as well, doing virtual tours, travel consultation services. So we've seen virtual tours as well in many of the hotels now. Yeah, many of these don't have static photography or imagery on their websites. Yeah, you're able to see the hotel, you're able to see and experience what kind of tour you're going to go for. Yeah, if you're attracting a foreign investor who has never been to Uganda, it's important that these things then become a reality for them first before they come. It's a good way of attracting clients and customers. So thinking through these things, that digital marketing we've talked about. Yeah, so these are ways then you attract more businesses and diversify and strengthen your revenue streams. Yeah. I was telling the team that we had yesterday, I went to Arusha in January, but what amazed me there was what I saw when I landed. Yeah, there was a big Emirates Airbus that had landed, and it had about 250 Europeans coming into the country. When I inquired, they mentioned that and it wasn't very peak season then. So they said in peak seasons, they have at least 500 people who are coming into the country. Yeah. I just imagine what that would look like for Uganda and what that would look like for the tourism space. Yeah. But again, they mentioned Tanzania has been intentional in ensuring that they're attracting tourists, because much as we have the beauty, we have the tourism sites. Yeah. We don't tell our stories well enough. We don't make as much noise. I would say traditionally as Americans make noise over something small. We don't know how to tell that story well. Yeah. So it's just packaging our products differently, making a lot more noise about them. Yeah. Being seen where you need to be seen. This social media, your websites, it is small things that can make a difference to your business. One can affect the business significantly, but also you're affecting the entire tourism space in the country. Yeah. You're able then to attract a lot more East Africans. You're able to attract a lot more foreigners into the business. Yeah. So leveraging financial options as well. So what options are out there to support businesses to grow? There are different banks that are providing loans. UDB has been strong at least in the last 2-3 years in providing loans for tourism. There are also SACCOs and microfinance institutions that offer flexible financing for small businesses. A lot of these microfinances are suitable for businesses that are closer to the individuals or closer to community. A lot of microfinances are community-based financing options. Equity and investor partnerships. So having collaborations with different investment funds, different investors as well, looking for tourism opportunities. If you're out there and you can be seen, it's easy then for an investor or a fund manager to pick you up and be able to collaborate easier. At times, there are also government grants and incentives that they've offered to leverage any tax benefits, for example, where there is information on tax benefits, on tax holidays, etc. It's important that you know these things and also take advantage of them. Yeah. All right. So let's look at common mistakes that businesses especially in the tourism or tour operator sector, have, and how do we avoid these common mistakes? Yeah. The first one we saw and noted was not planning for off-season expenses. So many businesses are not planning intentionally for the time when the season is low. Yeah. It's the awareness that yes, there is peak season, there is low season, but the planning for that has not been that intentional. So creating a financial buffer by setting aside a percentage of your peak season profits for slow months helps you as well to streamline business, but also intentionally starts putting the thought in it. When it's a low season, how do I attract customers? Yeah. Which other then businesses do I go to? How do I diversify my revenue? Then relying as well on only on cash transactions. Yeah. Where sometimes there's no flexibility. and a customer is only going to pay you cash, or there's no business that you're going to transact. Yeah, we have been so mobile now. Many people traditionally do not even go into a banking hall. So there are options out there. So using mobile money payments, using bank transfers, using online payments as well. Yeah, ensuring that at least you have all these options available for you helps a customer, one, know that there's convenience with one tour operator over another, and also helps you to track your finances better. The other common mistake is ignoring financial statements. So it's important that you have regular review of your financial statements, your profit and loss, your balance sheet, understand where I'm making a profit, whether I'm making a gross profit, if I'm making a net profit, whether I have costs that I'm incurring that I shouldn't be incurring. But if you're able to see this in time, you're able then to curb it in time. Yeah. So don't ignore financial records, and they give you insight into the business, but also give you insight on how to strengthen your business financially. The other mistake is poor debt management. So avoiding unnecessary loans. Yeah. Prioritizing repaying high interest debts first to reduce strain. So if you have 2-3 loans that you're running, so prioritize the one that has higher interest rates. Yeah. So debt management as well becomes important, but also if you can stagger or just wait on before you get a loan, do the bootstrapping. Ask family and friends who maybe will not charge you high interest rates, or will even give you a loan that is interest free. Yeah. So think through different ways before you run to an interest facility to see that your cash flows are not put at strain. The other common mistake is underpricing your services. Yeah. And this you see not only just to operators, but across many businesses as well. And mainly the micro and small businesses that don't have maybe solid financial statements. Yeah. So you find that many of the expenses might not be priced well. Many of the expenses might not be included in the price of a product. Yeah. For example, you might have hidden expenses like vehicle maintenance. So when you're charging for hire of a vehicle, you need to think through, okay, in terms of vehicle maintenance, are my costs then covered? Yeah. Insurance for the vehicle, is that insurance being covered by the price that I'm getting for my hiring of the vehicle? Yeah. Permits for the vehicle as well. So thinking through those costs as well help you then price your product better and ensuring that you're profitable as a business. Okay. Let's look at a case study of Bwindi Lodge and how Bwindi's smart planning helped them, one, be able to diversify, yeah, also be able to have sustainable investments from different investors, and how they were able to manage seasonal fluctuations and drive long-term growth. Yeah. So Bwindi Lodge is located in Bwindi Impenetrable National Park in Uganda. It's a high-end eco lodge catering for international tourists, local tourists as well, but it has attracted a number of international tourists, and many of them visit for gorilla trekking. Yeah, we've seen gorilla trekking of animals that have been here for forever, but has become now a very major and interesting and revenue source of tourism revenue. It has taken up and has picked up so much. Yeah. So many of the lodges, the hotels, you'd say in Kabale, Kisoro, towards Rwanda, have actually picked up on gorilla trekking, and it's an attraction that has attracted very many international tourists and boosted the revenues of these businesses. The lodge aimed to expand its operations while it wanted as well to maintain its sustainability and conservation efforts. The challenges the business faced that one, it had seasonal revenue fluctuations with fewer visitors visiting during the low season. They also had operating costs that were high, especially the staff wages, the park fees, and the maintenance fees. They needed additional investment to enhance their facilities and also to help attract more high-value travelers. Yeah. So what did Bwindi Lodge do? They reinvested 50% of their peak season profits into expanding ecotourism. Yeah. They also partnered with conservation organizations and secured grants and funding for their sustainable tourism projects. Yeah. Bwindi Lodge went further to introduce new revenue streams. They included the forest nature walks, and I've seen the forest nature walks as part of the revenue streams for many of the lodges now. Cultural experiences We've also seen bird watching as well for things that we take for granted. The birds that we see, there are people who come from foreigners who come and are looking for birds. Yeah, it's those small things that help you think through. Okay, how do I then expand this? How do I market Uganda differently and better? Yeah. And they also put up our luxury wellness retreats within the lodge. They adopted renewable energy solutions, which helped lower the operational costs and aligned them with the ecotourism trends. Today, we hear a lot of one, it's either energy, it's climate, it's energy conservation. It's so there's a lot of green conversations that are going on in this space. So getting aware of what is available, renewable energy, conserving the climate and environment is important for the business, but also the outlook of the business internationally then gains confidence and it's boosted. What was the outcome for them? They increased their annual revenue by 60% in 2 years. Yeah, which was really rather great. Then they attracted international grants, which supported them with the sustainable tourism practices. They improved their guest experience by leading to higher occupancy rates, and also they're able to offer premium pricing. Yeah, they strengthened the community engagements by employing more local staff and supporting conservation initiatives. Yeah, Bwindi Lodge celebrated 25 years. And they were the first ones to pioneer gorilla ecotourism in Uganda. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn from them. There's a lot that can help us grow our businesses as well. So that almost brings us to the end of today's conversation. I'll just speak to you on what we have done, our experience, our success stories. We have done a lot of outsourced accounting, supporting with tax compliance, supporting businesses become investor ready, building foundationally the businesses and helping them become stronger. We have heard that Uganda has at least almost the highest rate of entrepreneurs in the world, yeah, but many of the businesses do not survive past the 5th year. Yeah. So we're here to work and support you and grow together and build businesses together. Yeah. We have worked with the UDC in supporting them in doing due diligence for their businesses that they intend to invest in. We've worked with ABI Finance, ABI Development in doing business development support services, in structuring their transactions, in supporting their businesses, have governance structures. We have worked with Global Vivendi Africa. It's a French organization. We support them with payroll management. We've worked with UDB as well in supporting the businesses that they want to give money to in terms of advisory support, business development support services, but also have worked with them as well to bring businesses that are looking for capital. We're also a member of IAFCA, the East African Venture Capital Association, and this is an association that brings together equity investors, enterprise support organizations, and businesses to be able to have investments and or investors and investees speak together. Now, we've worked with Sente. Sente is a fintech that supports different businesses be able to have their payments on a platform. Most specifically is, for example, the mobile money bulk payments. We've done that, but also supported them with providing short-term capital facilities for their clients. Now, we do payroll services for Expo Oil. We've done feasibility studies for UCDA, Uganda Coffee Development Authority. We've worked with Pearl Capital Providers, that's an investment firm as well, to support their businesses both from the advisory and investment side. We've provided accounting services for YOPSA, financial services as well, advisory and financial services for Brentech. We've worked with Asili. Asili is a well-known agricultural facility and have helped them with doing recruitment of their human resource, but also supporting them in building some technology platforms. We've worked with IFAD, or the Yield Fund, one of the first local funds in Uganda, and worked with them in business development support for their portfolio. And also I've done tax compliance and assessment for Heineken. Yeah. So what are we saying? What we want from today and from our conversations with you as well is to say that we support you to grow businesses. So we don't just offer the services that we said, but we are strategically looking at growing Africa also. So what we say is normally having solutions by Africans for Africa. Yeah. We understand our challenges better than international donor funds, organizations, but I think also with numbers and growth and also coming together really as communities, as sectors, with expertise in different places as well. Yeah. You're the expert in tourism. I may be an expert in accounting, finance, or be an expert in banking. So coming together as well to find solutions that help drive growth, but also grow businesses sustainably and efficiently. Yeah, we have a strong track record in business advisory, investment facilitation, operational support, and enable businesses as well to scale. Yeah. Our core services, some of these are what we're covering today: the bookkeeping and accounting, human resource management, business advisory, and financial structuring. But we also do a lot of work in investments and providing capital solutions to businesses. Yeah, we've talked a lot on the bookkeeping, so supporting transaction tracking, tax compliance, setting up systems for accounting, and provide these as outsourced solutions to different businesses, especially at the startup and the growing phase. We support in recruitment, onboarding strategies, payroll management, tax compliance, staff welfare management, computation and filing of statutory taxes, and also help businesses to do financial planning and restructuring, and also in terms of governance, setting up proper governance structures, risk management structures. We support doing due diligences, market feasibility studies, investment readiness support, and have helped different SMEs and high growth enterprises to have tailored solutions for their businesses. We also help in structuring and managing venture equity or capital. Venture capital is really buying shares into a business, and also support with private equity funds, ensuring that private funds or private capital gets into the right places, especially into business in Uganda. We've helped in investment engagement and also bridging the gap between investors and businesses, and enabling them as well, businesses, to have long-term financial partnerships. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of today's conversation. I'll take time to take questions. And if Uganda Tourism Board as well is around, UTB, please feel free to say a word. These are our contacts. Yeah. We're found at Nakasero Hill Road. Again, I said we're Ortus Africa Capital. My name is Alice Kampirio Mwonge. Please feel free to ask questions now. And let me also take the opportunity to thank Uganda Tourism Board for organizing this and being able to share with the team as well. So I will take questions. I saw a number of questions in the chat. Let me get out of this for now and come to the main room. Yes. Okay, I see a number of... Avas, can you help guide? On that? Yes, I see Agnes's hand up. And Jacob. Yeah.
Hello, this is Agnes.
Yes, Agnes.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you so much, Alice. I was here yesterday and we were having a power outage. I couldn't hear you. So today I heard everything and I'm very happy. So thank you. My question is, well, I'll start with a statement. You know, all the shortfalls you've mentioned, my company kind of has a snippet of everything. And we were, of course, very affected by COVID. So it's been a struggle. But the thing is, I know a bit about, you know, managing books or bookkeeping. I've used QuickBooks before. But I think the issue has just been sort of putting things off and falling behind. But also because there was not much business coming in, we were signed on to QuickBooks Online, which got really expensive. So my first question is there a very affordable or even free bookkeeping software? Because for me, before I go into anything, tax compliance, filing, but just sort of, we know how you talk to an accountant. Hey, where are you? How much do you think you made? How are your books? You kind of figure out the numbers, but they're not completely, reconciled with the bank and everything. But anyway, so my first task is really to get my finances, my bookkeeping in position for me to pursue the other areas that need cleaning up. So I'm wondering if there's anything like that, because also I think for most of us being small and our business being affected by so many things, including the recent COVID scare, is we understand that, accounting services can be quite pricey. So I think sometimes we don't even take the time to educate ourselves and seek people out because, we just, assume we can't afford it. So, I'm wondering if there are services also you can recommend. I know this is your area, but, what would be a starting point? Thank you.
Thank you, Agnes, for that comment. Maybe let me respond to that. Then we'll take, I think there was Jacob, and also there's a wildlife safari. Firstly, yes, on the incomplete records, it's a challenge for any business really to have incomplete records and want to see financial statements, profitability, bank reconciliations done on time. Yeah. A solution to that is really getting an accounting system. Yeah. In terms of whether there are free accounting systems, I haven't seen any good accounting systems. I've seen one that is maybe not as pricey, but it's also complex to move around, but also doesn't give you the proper reports. So I would say it's weighing the cost and benefit for each system. Yeah. Why I recommend QuickBooks, it's easy to use. It's easy to train people. It has been also one of those non-widely cheaper options. Yeah. But I'm also happy to have maybe a follow-on conversation with you as well and see. But it's, I'm curious and interesting to know and ask. Yeah. When we say it's expensive to have these services, in what range are we looking at? And this is, I guess, open to all.
So with us, I think it went from $25 a month, and when we left, I think it was, if I remember correctly, I think with taxes, it was about $31.
Yeah, monthly subscription, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And for accounting services, if you're outsourcing, what would be an average?
I'm not quite sure, actually, but I think it will be more.
Like to get an expert in per month, may not be full time. What would be reasonable to grow a business and say, okay, I need expert, and we have also faced it really, where you're looking at I need somebody who knows what they are doing, but I don't have enough money to pay them. Yeah. But I can get somebody cheaper, but they become also more of a problem because they're not doing what I want them to do. Yeah. So it's always, it's the egg and the chicken. Yeah. Do I get in experts? I can't pay them now. So I bootstrap or look for the money, get a loan, pay them, ensure I'm building the right systems in place. Or do I get somebody cheaper? It's a hurdle as well to go over. Yeah. Because you then have to keep firing them on every month because they're not up to scale. You're training them and you're spending more time just getting the frustrations of your systems sorted out. So I'm happy as well to have a follow-on discussion. I think we'll reach out to you, Agnes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not sure who was first. There's Wildlife Adventures, I think. I see Bonnie's hand as well up.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So my name is Peter Nsubuga. I'm representing Wildlife Adventure Safaris. I just want to thank UTB for this arrangement. It has been really nice that we have been having this session. It's actually a big challenge, if I want to be honest, a big challenge to most of us, that we are having challenges in accounting, receipting, and invoicing. My other compliment was coming to Ortus Africa. You have actually exhibited a lot of knowledge in this. However, my other fear relates to what Agnes has just spoken about the costs. But I would wish we would have, all of us would have all these systems in a place built up. And I still have a challenge, apart from accounting systems, I still have a challenge in record keeping. I do it manually. Alice, you'll help me. I do it manually. Maybe I think I should have to visit your office and see how maybe I can develop something which is more digital. It may not be like so much automated, but a little bit easier to feed in my expenses, their expenses, because I really need them at the end of the financial year as I'm filing my tax returns. And again, I have issues with receipting and invoicing, like having digital receipts and invoices, which would really help me. I don't know whether Alice would be having something for sale. An app or a system for sale that can help me in invoicing and the receipting. That's my concern. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. If you have like an accounting system, for example, many of them support you in receipting or invoicing and being able to track your receivables or your payables. Yeah. So if you invoice and somebody has given you a part payment, many accounting systems are able to track that. Yeah. So it's easy to see that if you have it as manual, yes, you might recall and remember, but it's also more difficult to track it if you have a growing number of customers, but also you might forget. Yeah. So yes, there's accounting systems out there that help you track that. Yeah. In terms of the record keeping, if you're doing it on your own, maybe I'd advise doing an Excel as well. Running that, we know Excel as well is prone to errors, but at least it's a move away from manual records. Yeah, it would be the first step. But next step would strongly advise then move to looking for an accounting system. Yeah. I hope I've answered you. And yes, I'm happy to have a follow-on conversation with you and see what works for your business or what you're doing right now and how we can scale that. Yeah. Bonnie? Jacob, sorry. Yes, Jacob.
Yes. Good morning, Alice. Thank you for the presentation. It's refreshing when you have a revision yesterday and today you find that you had gaps again and you polish further. Mine is on the venture capitalist support. At what level does a venture capitalist support a tour operator business, for example? With your experience now, Uganda, how can you structure a business that can be ready for support from a venture capitalist?
Yeah, so in terms of venture capitalists, and this is mainly looking at investment that is coming in the form of somebody purchasing shares in your business. Yeah, you would need to be prepared for that. One, the business needs to be profitable. Yeah, like we said, in terms of accounting records, those should be in place. So your systems for accounting records should be in place. So they would be looking at your team and structure. Yeah. Who are your team members? Who is your management team? Who is on the board? What are the skill sets and qualifications of those teams? They'll be looking at definitely your financials, whether you're making a profit, whether you're making a loss, what are your gross projections, what are your cash flow projections, what do you anticipate to do in the next 3, 4, 5 years? Mainly this is focused towards understanding the sustainability of the business, but also giving the investor confidence that this business is going to be around for a period more than at least a year or two. Yeah. They'll also want to look at your market. So who is your market? Right now, have you understood your market well? What are your market expansion strategies? Who have you? How do you actually do marketing? Do you understand your market? So it's market and growth and sustainability of that market. So is there a market for your product? Yeah. You also want to look at the pricing as well in terms of competition. So how are you pricing your product based on the others? Have you actually intentionally thought through that? Have you documented that? So it's those things that they're looking at. Yeah. So if you put together these things in a profile of the or business plan, yeah, what is your business plan? So looking at all those things. So your markets, your scalability of the business, your financial projections, your team, your board of advisors or governance structures, your human resource structures as well. Yeah. Some of these departments may not be so separated, but there are policies and systems that you're putting in place to enable you get to a certain level. So it's basically building the confidence of a venture capitalist. Yeah. So they're out there. There's a number of venture capital firms out there as well. Now we'll be happy to share some of those, but you need to have the business ready in terms of at least a minimum of those areas. So legally as well, your legal processes have got to be in place. Your certificates of registration, your annual certificates or that you need to have in place, your tax clearance certificates, NSSF, pay as you earn. So all these things in terms of compliance need to be in place for any investor to come in and say they're confident to put in their money. Yeah. I hope I've answered you, Birunji.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Bonnie, I think I saw Bonnie's hand up.
Yes, thank you so much. Can you hear me, Alice?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much, Alice. My name is Bonnie. I'm representing the Ghana Safaris Uganda. We are a tour and travel company based in Namgo, right? That's where we base our operations. We operate both in Uganda and Rwanda. I'm so happy that you based your training actually on the evidence that came out of the survey that you were able to do. And your discussions and actually the knowledge you shared with us was not motivated by probably desk research. I mean, you're giving us views that came out from some of our friends that did participate in the survey. Now, you see, Alice, if you've been around for some time and maybe you've been following up the tourism industry, let's say tour operations, and maybe also hotel, you would pay attention to kickback. Like us who do tour operations, we are like more in a brokerage business. I mean, like we sell what we don't own, and clients give us money and we do probably planning on their behalf. That one brings a lot of inherent challenges when it comes to tax issues, and I will speak about VAT. I like your presentation on value-added tax where you said it applies to operators where annual revenue exceeds 150 million. But to be honest, if you see the money that we get and which we call revenue, I doubt if two operators that have been in business between 1 to 5 years or even 10 years have made 150 million in revenue, because we charge on the commission. That's our revenue, not actually the money that the tourists give us. What I wanted to say is that when government and some of the people that are not in our business say that VAT is charged on tour packages and other taxable services, they are wrong. Because if I say I'm selling 3 days Murchison at $1,000, if I just there put 18% on it, charge it to the final client, you can't buy that package. Remember, I'm also going to get part of that money, pay lodges, pay park entrances, hire a car, pay for fuel, buy food, get the sticker, pay the guide. So ideally, I'm selling a package actually which has other things that I'm going to pay and not actually the whole revenue coming in. So it becomes a bit ambiguous. I don't know whether you really followed up with the URA to see how really our VAT applies. And actually, even the money that we pay maybe at park entrances, permit, the permit, and all those things that probably who are charges, they have VAT inclusive. The challenge is that when we claim for that VAT, they say that's not our VAT, it's their VAT client who we've taken around. Like, for example, when I buy a gorilla permit of $800, it's charged at 18% as well, which is inclusive of that money. And that money is supposed to go on my VAT account in URA, but that money, URA doesn't consider it as my VAT input. So, given that, it makes it very, very hard for us to sit back and actually, I really don't know whether you know that, but that's how hard it is. We are registered for VAT, we pay, but actually we are paying wrong VAT because of that thing. Actually, I'm overjoyed. I took note on every slide, maybe apart from removing it. If it's possible, maybe to share if you allow.
Okay.
But another thing I wanted to emphasize before the rest of my two operators is resilience in business. I'm not happy with the turnout. We are just 9, like 10 two operators listening to this masterclass, heavily paid for. If I just imagine if we were to pay for this, no one can actually pay you guys to come and teach us. And these are the things, these are the inherent challenges we are having. I really don't know whether UTB need to mobilize or we are, sometimes with the two operators, we think we are very busy and this is what we do. Alice, let me tell you, businesses are collapsing because of lack of resilience systems, like maybe having developing financial prices, financial mistakes and stuff like that, strategies. And those are some of the things that are making our businesses actually die out. Yes, it is true. Uganda is now home to, it is attracting 1.5 million arrivals, and probably maybe they are coming for, nature, conservations and, nature tourism. But two operators are facing challenges of operations and management. I want to thank you for this masterclass. We really want to keep in touch. I don't know how. I don't know whether we contact one-on-one or we go through UTB. This is very, very important. We, the two operators, we really must be filling these rooms to listen to this and actually. I, for one, have taken a lot of knowledge out and bring some torch now. And we want to keep in touch. But the last question, I don't know whether you know that taxman doesn't want to hear from us, especially when you are aware that we have low seasons and high seasons. They ask you serious questions, for lack of a better word. They ask you questions actually that you can't even reply. And then also on that, I really don't know whether, Alice, you know that the tour guides that we use, they don't want to be taken as part-time employees where you're taking off the day. Even when you're giving them maybe $30 per day for 10 days, where maybe they are earning above 1 million or 2, they cannot tell you that. Secondly, some of our partners, like those ones who give us cars, they are not registered for VAT. You ask them for maybe an invoice, they don't give you an invoice. So you're losing a lot of VAT even now for something that you could have. So we also have challenges moving forward. And the taxman doesn't want sometimes to hear that. I really don't know how can we build resilient operation system for us to be maybe ready even for investors. Someone was talking about these venture capitalists. They don't just invest in you if you don't have a health financial background. Thank you so much. Sorry for the length stop.
Thank you, Bonnie, for your sentiments. Quite a number of things you've touched. And I'd hoped and wished at least we have quite a number of people coming to participate. So we know how to solve problems as a group. Yeah. I appreciate the support that UTB is putting in this to be able to get people to strengthen. Just even starting conversations is the beginning of a solution. Yeah. I appreciate your comment on the nature of your VAT input and output. Yeah. I'm glad that you registered for VAT. VAT in its nature is almost a final tax on the individual paying it. But a lot of these things as well, it goes back to the legal framework that we're working in and operating with. I appreciate also the fact that URA sometimes is so adamant to listen to complaints from the public before understanding the challenges that businesses are going through. Yeah, we face that almost any business is facing that, and many times it's for them, it's aggressive revenues that they're chasing rather than supporting businesses as partners to grow. Yeah, so the challenge on VAT. Not even just to operators. If you're working with people who are not registered and able to recover your VAT output and input and match those two, it becomes a challenge. So you end up being charged for VAT and you cannot recover that. Yeah. Many times, people become smart with how they avoid taxes. I don't know if that's something I would want to encourage you to do. No, we want to grow strong businesses. Yeah. But also there are times when somebody says, I'll only work with those people who are able to give me an invoice that I can claim that VAT from. Yeah, because I'm also paying VAT on what I receive. So those would be the adverse ways that you manage VAT. So looking to partnering with people who are able to give you VAT and you can recover that. Yeah. But also the comments that you have raised on you being, yes, the brokers as tour operators. It's more of a framework, tax framework, and how URA is charging the VAT, and you're able to recover that for you. I have had that conversation maybe about 4 years ago, similar, yes, maybe not too often, but I know the challenges in terms of VAT and the different bands or levels for VAT. We're charging just taxes, yeah. If you look at somebody coming from abroad to Uganda to do tourism, there are a number of taxes that are charged, right from the transport. If you're coming from the airport to Kampala, there's VAT attached in there. In your ticket, there was VAT. In your income, there was VAT as well attached. You book a vehicle, there's VAT attached. So you end up almost paying 80% VAT as a client. Yeah, even before you're the tour operator. Yeah, so it's the same issues, and those conversations have been going on for a period of time. It's the same issue for a tour operator. Yeah, I am going to pay for all these services because I'm a broker of these services. Yeah, I may get you maybe a ticket booking. I'm paying VAT in there. I'll get you a vehicle. I'm paying VAT. I'll get you accommodation. There's VAT in there. What I'm receiving from a hotel owner, etc., is a package as well, but doesn't factor in the different levels of VAT that have incurred, yeah, over all these stages to be able to get a customer to a hotel, to a lodge, yeah. A lot of this, again, we're saying if we're coming together, your conversation, what you actually just noted, is something where a bigger voice can then voice it to your, hey, it's a tax framework. Yeah, there's no easy solution for this because it's still the law that is flawed right now. Yeah. But that conversation, I think, Uganda Tourism Board will reach out to them as well and tell them these are the issues. If, in terms of advocacy, they can come together and say, as a board, as a group, as an association, these are the issues that we are facing. It's easier for them then to go around that issue than a consultant, Alice, coming to tell you, hey, we had a training and these are the issues. Yeah. So that's what you're talking about VAT and the different levels. And you, at the end of the day, your profitability is reduced because of the different VATs that you're paying along the line. Yeah. That's a conversation, I think, that is more of sector-wise. Yeah. Where you have stronger voices from people facing the same challenges. Yeah. Coming to this training and even just hearing you issue that out and just have the complaint out there. That's a beginning for me of a solution that can come. Yeah, but I recognize that's a solution that needs to be sought aggressively. But maybe a body like Uganda Tourism Board, we shall pick it up with them and see what conversations they can have with other compliant bodies. Yeah. Let me take Eva. I hope I answered you, Bonnie, but we are also happy to have a follow-on conversation. We will reach out to you as well and see what solutions or what conversations do you want us to help you package. Yeah.
Hi, Alice. Thank you for taking my questions. Mine was actually a bit handled by Bonnie. It was about taxes. You had mentioned that the training was custom-made for tour operators. So I wanted to know how do you compute this tax exactly? And he's mentioned it, but again, you've not given us a solution. All you're saying, UTP will be the one to handle to find what they can do for us. Because, like you said, you are an agent of this, of this, of this. You're just earning a small something of it. So how do you compute the 18%, most especially the value-added tax? For the other taxes, yes, it can be clear, the PAYE, the NSSF, all those, and the corporate tax, those ones are clear. But how, if we come to the VAT, how am I computing the VAT of the small things that I'm getting after payment? Yet I also, at the end of it, I have to pay a corporate tax. Then secondly, you also mentioned about the low turn-up. I would like to go and defend ourselves. I just got this email. If the email didn't come through, I would even miss today, because I sent a message. They had given us a link. We kept clicking on the link and the link was inactive. I sent a message again myself, speaking of myself. I sent a message. I said the link is inactive. I didn't get a response. I was just lucky that I saw this email come in reminding us of this meeting. But please, if you could touch how we calculate the VAT, if you know.
Yeah. All right. I'll try and address the VAT, and I'm happy as well to get to learn from the different operators and see. So VAT, in a way, for example, if you're paying for a service, yeah, you will charge. I'll give an example: 1,000, yeah, and then plus VAT is added onto that, 18%. Yeah. So what you're going to pay is 1,000 plus 18% for a service. You're booking a hotel. Yeah. So you're paying the client or the hotel this much for a client. So you're probably going to get a lot more, but the cost of that VAT is booked into how much you're going to pay to the hotel to book for a client accommodation, transport, etc. Yeah. So there's VAT in there. In there, your 1,000 is only the net that you're getting. Yeah. So the 18% you're paying to, even when you receive it, you're paying to your So this is a service that you're procuring. You're paying for a service. Look at it as maybe any other consultancy or tax fees. You're paying that service. There's VAT in there. What actually comes to you is less VAT, because the VAT you have to pay to your On the other side, yeah, you're going to incur to be able to get this client from wherever they are to that hotel or lodge. Yeah. In there, the transport person, yeah, the accommodation, because you're paying on behalf of the client, any other beverages, permits, etc., might be inclusive of VAT as well. Yeah. This VAT sometimes, yeah, might not be given to you to offset against what you incurred when you received money. So on your expenses, you should actually be offsetting this VAT. But like Bonnie said, some of these the clients are saying that is their VAT, not yours. Where you're not also going to get an invoice that is VAT invoice, you're not going to be able to recover that VAT. So you'll only offset the VAT on the transport invoice that you've received. You're paying a transporter to be able to transport your client. You're paying an accommodation for this person to be able to receive that VAT. You're paying for food, you're paying for permits, etc., to be able to offset that VAT. But once you get that, the client is going to pay you also bulk. Yeah. Ideally, you'd also include that VAT and give them a VAT invoice, yeah, to be able to offset your VAT. Yeah. So for VAT, it has got to be on the sale and the expense. So look at it from the point of who am I selling my service to? I need to give them a VAT invoice. Who am I also paying for different services to be able to make a sale? You need to be able to raise VAT on those invoices. So you're offsetting those when you do your VAT return.
What can I say something again? For the hotel, for example, I've booked my clients in a hotel. The VAT is going to the hotel. It's already incorporated into their rate. So my question was, if I've already paid the hotel the VAT, now me as a tour operator who is registered for VAT, if I add VAT on my total cost, it would be an exorbitant charge, whereby I will not be in position to sell that package. So I would like to know, to differentiate, who now pays the VAT, the hotel or the tour operator? Where is the tour operator getting the money to pay for the VAT? Is my question a bit clear?
Yeah, so VAT is almost at every stage. I know what you're saying. If you're going to pay inclusive of VAT, you still have to raise a VAT invoice. So it becomes expensive in that way. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because VAT is at every stage of a sale being made. You're making a sale to a client. The hotel is making a sale to you, the broker, the tourist operator. Yeah. They have to charge you VAT. You have to also charge VAT. You see the difference. It is at every stage of invoicing or every stage of sale. When you go to a restaurant, you pay VAT. If you look at some of those invoices, for those that are system generated, you'll see VAT included in there. Yeah. But they bought rice from somebody and they were charged it. So the price is more expensive on the final customer or consumer because there are two levels, you would say, of VAT now charged.
Sure. It has cleared. Yeah, it is clear. Thank you.
So
thank you, Alice.
Bigger the challenge is, it becomes difficult or expensive for you to sell your product.
Package, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But in terms of the return, yes, Bonnie.
Maybe thanks so much actually for your answers, Eva. Maybe to the rest of the team who are here, actually VAT is not a tax for us. The tax is the final consumer. What URA requires us is to, if I'm selling
collect it on them.
If I'm selling a package at 5,000 for maybe 4 days Gorilla, I should be able to charge this final client at 18% and add it back, and then be able to file it. Maybe Eva, you can mute your microphone for now. Yeah, I was saying that most of us, I think, maybe according to Eva also, Alice, what she has said, VAT actually is not our tax. It's a tax to the final consumer. But in this case, we become the tax agents for URA and government, and we collect that VAT. And from what I know is that because we also involve ourselves in buying goods and services as a company, we pay VAT somewhere where they expect those guys also to remit VAT returns to URA. And if we paid, maybe if we collected little VAT than what we paid when we were buying maybe, services to run our tours, URA gets the difference and gives it back to us. Actually, there is what they call tax refund if you've done your VAT input output at the end of the month or trading period. If it's above 5 million, URA does a tax audit on you and they refund you the money, hoping you spent more VAT than what you collected and actually remitted. But Alice, what I wanted everyone to appreciate is that we are actually selling to people that are not residents and they don't have TIN. Now, URA tells us actually to issue invoices to clients without TIN, which they agree and which I know sometimes we do it. I don't know whether UTB actually know these modalities. We issue invoices to clients without TIN. Otherwise, for you, URA to recognize you very well, you issue it probably to clients with TIN. And these include safari lodges. Alice, some of the safari lodges are exempt
VAT because I don't have a VAT certificate for the client.
Yeah, I see your challenge.
To me, if I understand VAT, I think the total package should not incur a VAT. The client, if the VAT is to the consumer, the client is already paying VAT to the hotel, to the car owner, and even to the services like park entrance and Gorilla permits and any other permits which are chargeable, because there is a VAT input. Why should they now impose on a tour operator to charge VAT on the total package? Let me give you an example.
I'm saying, let me explain what I hear you saying. Yes. Yeah, then you give me an example. So the challenge or the issue here is on the invoicing as well. Yeah. So the VAT would be on the revenue earning as a commission, not on the entire package.
Yes, that would be right.
Yeah, yes. Especially where the client is paying directly to the hotel, the lodge, etc. Yeah. If they were paying you, then you'd be that.
No, if they are paying to us.
Yeah.
They are paying to us, but I'm saying they are paying the hotel. Why I'm using the phrase they are paying the hotel? Because it's their money that is paying the hotel, though I'm receiving on their behalf.
Which would still be that they are paying the hotel directly. You're just
yes.
between, an intermediary. Because where it would make sense for you is that they are paying to you because you're marking up that service, that payment to you. Yeah, but
then the VAT.
Then you charge VAT because for them they
on
are getting
the markup.
Yes.
Not on the total package.
Yeah, because the total package you're giving them is a rate that the hotel is giving you, right? Yeah, but if
with all services, yes.
Yes, it's different when you're the final consumer of that VAT. I'm selling my service as a package to a client. Alice comes and pays you. I don't know how much you're paying the hotel. So the hotel is going to bill you. You're also going to bill your client with VAT. Whatever you mark has been marked up over and above what you pay the hotel. So you have to incorporate both VATs. That the client has to pay you for a VAT. Yeah? The hotel makes a VAT return. The VAT that you pay to the client, you offset it against the VAT that the client also pays you. So at some point, it should net off. Yeah. If it's not both those, like what I think Bonnie was saying, they net off at some point. Yeah. Because you're transferring VAT from what you've paid and what you're receiving, and those two you combine, it's an input and output. So you will not have a payment of VAT when you do a return. Your input and output is offset. So you have zero return. Yeah. But where you find you cannot recover that VAT, I think it's more of an invoicing issue. Either they should invoice you VAT on your commission alone, yeah, or that you're receiving the money and then refunding it. So you have a VAT input and a VAT output. I see that's where your challenge might be in the way invoicing both sides, input and output.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm picking now. Thank you.
Yes, Mona Lisa.
Thank you very much, Alice. Actually, I was just going to ask to answer or rather to clarify for Eva, but you've just said it for me. With that, the VAT should be charged only on the markup and not the commission, because the commission is literally, it's just something that you receive from the establishment, whereby a client would have paid the same price, inclusive of commission, whether you are in the equation or not. And then I have a question. I require clarification. Where you mentioned that records should be held for as a standard guideline by URA for 7 years, but your document said 5. I would like to know which number of years it is, which, for you to clarify. Thank you.
Yeah. So what the document had 5 years for URA. So URA requires you to maintain them for 5 years. Yeah. But audits, the auditing standards require that you maintain for 7 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Isaac.
Thank you for the session. Thank you for sharing with us profound wisdom. My question is about when do you pay VAT? A scenario for us as tour operators, we can invoice for a service which will be offered in the next year. As has been made clear that we are commission agents, and the VAT that we are supposed to pay is off the commissions or the markups that we add in the invoices. Yeah. So if, for example, somebody books with me a safari coming next year in June, and I invoice them now, am I supposed to pay that VAT now, or I pay it in June after offering that service? Yeah. Then secondly, it's a response to your question that you made to the previous speaker. Sorry, I forget his name. Sorry. Where you asked, what can we do as the Ortus Africa in regards to his sentiments about cost of operation for tour operators? I heard somewhere in your introduction where you said you did market research for one market analysis or market research for one firm coming to do business in Uganda. I believe strongly that even us in the tourism sector, we have a challenge of market research. Most of the times we chase markets based on what our neighbors are doing. If we understand that most tourists coming to Tanzania are from Europe, we test Europe because we don't have a collective marketing strategy, tourism marketing strategy as Uganda or something like that. So we look at Rwanda, where are the most clients coming into Rwanda from, then we also try that side. So I believe one of the things you can do is market research for tour operators, because it is a very expensive venture that can only be done with collective efforts or by a firm. So even in a deliberation with JTB or any other agencies that are in charge of marketing in Uganda, that is something you can consider the market research for us. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good proposition, the market research as well. We can even straight away share something that can help inform a market research. Yeah? So let's look into that and see what kind of survey and the results of the survey that comes out of that. Tailoring the needs, what are the challenges and what solutions can be tailored to specific needs. Because what I found interesting is the comments that come out then of the surveys help you then form a solution that is just not classroom-based solution. Yeah. Because I could come and give you so much about balance sheet and income statement and how you prepare them, but really as a business, that's not your core area. Yeah, it is the money. The money has got to come in first. Yeah. So that's a good one. Let's think about how we can firstly do a survey on what kind of market research and needs there are for tour operators, and see how that can then be tailored into support for tour operators, and more into then the promoting tourism and all those things that are affecting tour operators. Yeah. I'll answer on the invoicing. Deferring the invoicing if you have a client that is going to come in 2 years' time. Yeah. When you raise a VAT invoice for URA, you'd have to pay the VAT upon issuing an IFRS invoice, whether you have earned it or not. Yeah. So I give you a scenario where you raise an IFRS invoice now for a 2-year package, and then the client doesn't come. You have already paid that invoice. You cannot recover that. Yeah, that is a challenge as well that happens for any business, leave alone just your tour operators. If I have a contract and I raise an invoice, for whatever reason it is cancelled, URA requires that when you raise that VAT, you should pay it. Yeah. Now, what I would advise is raise an IFRS invoice when you're sure you're going to receive money for it. What companies normally do is you have your own system internally. So there's an invoice you raise that is generated from your system that you give the client. Yeah, this is the amount of money you're going to pay me. So that invoice may not be the same as an IFRS invoice as well. So at the point of when you know you're going to actually make a sale, receive money, is when then you file the IFRS invoice. So that helps you manage your cash flows. Yeah. That would be the best solution that you then institute. Don't raise an IFRS invoice until you're sure you're going to be paid for it. And best when you know at least within the 15 days before I file, I already have money. So between invoicing and filing of your returns, at least between the 15th of every month and the 15th of the next month, make sure at least your invoicing and payments are aligned within that period every month to help manage your cash flows. Yeah. I'll take, I don't know if Birunjo or Mona Lisa, whose hand was up, either of you can unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Alice. Regarding the arguments regarding the incorporation of VAT on other services which are not recognized by URA for the tour operator to claim, what is the success truly in terms of engaging URA to really open up? Suppose now some of these things are areas where people have to be clear, because if it's once it's taxes, then the taxpayer should also be entitled to good things. Because I see them hiding because they want to collect more tax, and then they forget that the taxpayer also has to save some money for the operations. Thank you. I don't know, from your experience, how do you think something has to be taken up by you and UTB and other stakeholders to have this structural problem sorted? Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, the issue of a collection of taxes and payment of taxes, I think that is more of a national problem. It's not even just to operators. The success rate of claiming VAT, you have to have your also facts clear. Yeah, you need to be sure, because when you want to claim VAT, will send their compliance auditors to come and just pinpoint and pick every transaction, ensure that at least they're not losing money. Yeah. So if you have an invoice that you do not bill and pay and remit VAT, they'll pick that. So why many clients don't even go to that point is that sometimes those who have come up with complaints, when they go and do an audit, they end up paying a lot more than they were arguing about for not paying. So it's really bigger than just two operators. It's every business. If you know you're sure about your VAT and your taxes and your books, you can go ahead and take your VAT, URA head on. But also, it's almost a common fact now. URA is on pressure to collect revenue. So they will not lose that revenue easily. Yeah. And they have the financial muscle to string you along for a longer period of time, which is expensive for you, both in terms of time, yeah, and even money that you spend in trying to recover something and end up being at a disadvantage or really more an adverse position than you began. But if you have your record straight, please take your A on. Yes, Mona Lisa, you have your hand up. Oh, that was an earlier hand. Yeah. All right. I want to bring this to a close. If we have no other questions, we should have ended at midday. I'll take Mona Lisa's as the last question.
Sorry. I thought I was speaking, but I put my hand down instead of turning the microphone on. Thank you, Alice. I just wanted to know, is there any chance that you can share the slides as we go along with the classes as opposed to at the end? Because you had mentioned that yesterday, but I personally haven't received yesterday's slides. I think it will be helpful for us as we go along with the classes, just in case there's anything we might have missed in the presentation.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. We will share the presentation. I think it's been posted in the chat as well. And also just to confirm and clarify. So tomorrow's session is going to be the same as this one, based on the fact that UTB had thought maybe we'd even have at least 100 people coming. But we thought because a fewer people are coming in at different times, they'll make an effort to bring in different groups of people. So tomorrow's will be this. Then at some point, we'll then get back to you using the emails that you shared and then do a deeper dive into the different, then break down the bookkeeping, the taxes, etc. But tomorrow's is going to be the same session as this one. So feel free to join us as well tomorrow to learn more, to ask more, interact a bit more. But I would like to close here today. And thank you as well for coming and taking time out to be with us and learn and share your comments as well. And we appreciate as well Uganda Tourism Board for organizing this. And we hope many more sessions like this can be covered. So have a lovely day. Bye.